Life is all about survival, and we never really know how long each of us have on this planet. But our job as a species is to persevere and eliminate anything which may threaten our survival. So what's the biggest threat you can think of? Pollution, disease, natural disasters. You know, looking around, the powers that be seem to have identified some pretty nasty threats. And so we have the war on terror, the war on crime, the war on drugs, the war on cancer. But when do we ever think about our basic life support needs? We usually don't have to, because luckily for us, we have a system. A system whereby the cost of living can be earned. You can gain employment and work for money, which of course provides access to food, to water, to shelter. And it's a good thing we have this system, because without money, you're as good as dead. But if you're without a job, no need to worry, because, yeah, again, we have a system. If you're out of work, for whatever reason, simply apply for government aid. See, all the people with jobs pay taxes. And since the government understands that a certain level of unemployment is to some degree to be expected, they simply dip into some of that tax money and hand it over to those without jobs through a magical process called redistribution. But it kind of makes you wonder, if this is our big solution to unemployment, where's the threshold? What level of unemployment can we really sustain? And what would happen if all these jobs suddenly disappeared?
The world is facing an urgent challenge and needs to create, listen to this number, needs to create 600 million jobs to generate growth and maintain social cohesion.
Defence giant BAE Systems has confirmed it's cutting almost 3,000 jobs at sites across the country.
Tata Steel, which employs 90,000 people in its UK steel business, has announced it is cutting 900 jobs around the UK.
Another blow to the region's economy today as the energy giant E.ON announced that 600 jobs are to go at a call centre in Essex.
The Pfizer facility in Kent, the world's biggest drugs company, runs the UK's largest foreign-owned research and development facility. It will close entirely with the loss of most of 2,400 jobs.
Ford has announced to trade union representatives that it will cease manufacturing cars in the UK after more than 100 years.
Japan's Honda is to cut around 800 jobs at its plant near Swindon in southwest England.
And we start tonight with news that the BBC has announced cuts and job losses across the region as part of a plan to make 20% savings.
Hundreds of police jobs have already been slashed, with thousands more under threat.
But Kodak, the firm that invented the handheld camera and remains one of America's best-known brands, has filed for bankruptcy protection.
Rangers Football Club, one of the most famous in Britain, has announced it's gone into administration.
More than 300 of the 800 stores that Woolworths used to occupy are still standing empty more than a year and a half after it collapsed at the end of 2008.
More retailers are expected to go bust over the next few months.
All 187 outlets are to be shut, with the loss of almost 1,400 jobs. The administrator said it is apparent that we cannot continue to trade. It was once Britain's biggest sports retailer, but today JJB Sports announced plans to go into administration.
6,500 jobs are at risk after the electrical retailer Comet announced it's going into administration.
More than 4,000 jobs at risk after HMV announced that it was going into administration. It follows other chains.
It's Blockbuster. It's become the latest casualty on the high street this week. A quarter of its stores are going to close. More than 700 people are going to be made redundant.
There's serious doubts now about the future of around 6,000 jobs in the UK after the company asked for its shares to be suspended last Wednesday.
Former Stands employees have come to the decision to occupy the store as a direct consequence of the actions of management.
A buyer hasn't been found, and the group currently employs a total of nearly 4,000 staff.
Taiwan's IT giant Foxconn announced it plans to replace up to 500,000 human workers with robots in the next 3 years.
It's called Scan and Do Shop. Customers love it. Very simple system.
Each load is almost 300 tons. But look closely.
there's no one behind the wheel.
The facility boasts the first robotic system in the UK to deliver supplies such as linen and food, and an automated robotic pharmacy.
井上さん、ミルクティーですね。岩下さん、オレンジジュースですね。